My name is Rob Watson. I'll be serving as the director of the Kendall College Incubator. Thank you for making some time to come out today. I would be remiss if I didn't thank a few people. Our president, Kim Shambrook. Our provost, Agata Benito. All of our panelists, including our partners from the hatchery and the family farm, our family farm. I also need to thank one of my instructors, Patricia Halehel, for hijacking her project management class and using those students to plan this event. So a round of applause for Pat and the team as well. So formerly as an instructor, it was always the question, to cell phone or not to cell phone in class. Question? Someone come in? Come on in. No, please don't stop. Come on in, please come in. Make yourself at home. I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry. But we do want you to use your cell phones today. This is not a class. We will have an Instafall. So if you're on Instagram, please post at Kendall College and use the hashtag Kendall Ideas. We want to try to capture as much of this event as possible. So please actively join us on social media. I think it's important that I talk a little bit about what incubators are. I told a friend of mine that we were starting an incubator, and he said, "So you're in charge of the eggs and the chickens at Kendall now?" I said, not exactly. Let's take one huge step back. So incubators are businesses that help other businesses get started. So they provide three things. Physical space to work. They give you a place to have your office. They're going to give you some expertise and some workshops on things that are relevant to your field. And of course, most importantly, access to money. The number one reason businesses close is not because the food is bad, it's because you can't manage your cash flow and you can't save the cash that you have. The people who get served, or who these incubators serve, are called entrepreneurs. Now, most people tend to think of entrepreneurs as people who own businesses. And that's true, they are. But really what separates an entrepreneur is risk and being willing to take risks. Steve Blank wrote a book called Lean Startup. John Frank, thank you. And he defines entrepreneurs as people who are comfortable with terrifying uncertainty. And so I really feel that there's a lot of range and spectrum into who and what an entrepreneur actually is. I could talk to you all day about these facts. I love it. I can tell you that 65% of the jobs in the United States over the past 20 years come from small business. I can talk to you about 1995, a small mom and pop shop that we now know as Google. I could talk to you about individuals like Steve Jobs, but you know about those people. So I'd rather talk to you about and about us, and about why we're here today. So the Kendall College Incubator is all about us. It is only for Kendall College students, faculty, staff, and alumni. A big part of Kendall College, obviously, is things like sustainability, food, things that we know very well here. It's a very large part of our value proposition. But we feel that we can invest in Chicago, which is so important to Kendall, by focusing on the talent in this building, by focusing on the people who are in this room. So one really important thing to know about our incubator is that it's for you. The other thing I want you to know is a little bit about how it's all going to work. So if you're a student at Kendall College, the incubator will be coming into some of your classes. So some of you who don't know me so well yet, you will get to know me better. Pretty fun guy, if I'm speaking honestly. Secondly, it is also an elective, right? So if you're more curious than just about the skills or at a high level, you really want to explore entrepreneurship at Kendall College, there will be an elective that you can take at Kendall that is a 10-week course, 1 day in the classroom, 1 day in the field. It's a practicum because we want you to start to get a lot of exposure to entrepreneurship at an early age. And the third thing that's really important to understand is our fellows program. So these are people who are hospitality students, culinary students, business students, alumni, faculty who are saying, either I have an existing business or I'm considering going pro. The other thing that will be a very large part of our incubator is sustainability. I think that's really the future of where business is going and going green. So sustainability will play a huge role in a lot of the projects that we sponsor and support. So I hate being the only one doing all the talking, and we have these lovely people who have donated their time. So is it okay if I introduce our panelists? Yeah. I need a little more enthusiasm in that. Thank you. Thank you. You should have, really. Thank you. First to my right, we have Natalie Schnulik from The Hatchery. Please give Natalie a round of applause. We also have Rebecca Fabrizio from Family Farm and the Good Food Accelerator. That's right. And then we have our academic team. I told you a little bit that we're going to be coming into your classroom. And so I felt like it was important to have some of our academic heads here to talk a little bit about their vision of how the incubator is going to interface, everybody back there, how it's going to interface with their school. So we have Dr. Paul Buccini, Early Childhood Education. We have, not doctor, but very well-educated man, very close friend of mine as well. We have Ryan Bartlome, Dean of General Education. We have the Dean of the School of Hospitality Management, Dr. Sue Tenish. And of course, the Dean of the School of Culinary Arts, Chef Dina Altieri. So like I mentioned before, today is about you. So enough of me talking, and I really want to get into this Q&A before we head down the hall and have some pizza and have some fun and win some prizes. I'm sure people were like, I don't see pizza anywhere in this room. Trust me, we're going to honor our word when it comes to the food. So let's get to the Q&A. Are there any questions that people have for our partners? Yes, I see a hand in the corner. Do we have someone to take the other microphone up there? Marlene, yes, I was wondering where my co-host was. There she is. Thank you, Marlene, one of the project management students. We have a question.
Hello, so my question to you is, how will the incubator help like an early education program? How will it help me?
Paul, I believe that's for you, sir.
So right out of the gate, you just asked about School of Ed, okay. Well, that's a very good question, and we're investigating that now in terms of how this interfaces into the program right now. Currently, we're one program, Early Childhood. There has become a huge entrepreneurial spirit in the field of education over the years, now more than ever, because there's many more school models being developed out there and being utilized other than the traditional public and private setting. So we have models like charter schools, we have independently owned and operated schools that don't fall under the umbrella of public or private or parochial in the traditional sense, in the traditional model. So with that, the sustainability of those kinds of models require pretty much a huge entrepreneurial spirit beyond how do you teach. Our program is very good about how do you teach, but it really doesn't expand into what I'm talking about and understanding those kind of business models. So we're trying to interface that a lot more. And then as we move into program expansion opportunities, we're going to be definitely using that as a driver as well.
Thank you, Paul. That was a fantastic response, by the way. Any other questions from the audience? Yes, over here on the right. Actually, Marlene, I'll cover this one.
What is the difference between the hatchery and the family farm?
Sure. Hello? Okay, it's working. So one of the things that Rob started to discuss was what is an incubator. So there's incubators and there's accelerators. We are a full-fledged incubator at the hatchery, so we have production space that we actually rent out to producers in the food space. But we also offer the technical services that really takes them throughout their lifetime as an entrepreneur. So whether it's pre-revenue and pre-concept, if you're looking just to start and play in the field of starting a food business, or if you're already running and you're looking to grow, whether it's from regional to national, national to international. We provide those services throughout. And then we work very closely with Family Farms, which does some phenomenal work at those kind of mid-tier, larger stage companies. I'm going to let Rebecca talk a little bit more about that and kind of what an accelerator is in that space as well.
So yeah, the way that I differentiate incubator and accelerator is by the size and where the business is at in their development. So our accelerator program is actually a 6-month intensive program where our fellows go through an application process. It's a very competitive application process. Once they're selected, we only have 8 to 9 fellows at a time for one cohort. So the cohort meets for 6 months, and they have a curriculum. It's once a month. We operate out of 1871, so that is a difference too. We don't provide rented space. We provide shared office space and meeting space, but our fellows are at a point where they're ready to scale up. They're ready to take investment to grow their business and take it to the next level. So that's what we do primarily, and it is, like I said, a strict curriculum. We have deliverables that we require our fellows to produce. They work one-on-one with mentors from our program, and then after graduation, we continue to work with them throughout, hopefully, the duration of their business, and they become part of our network. So.
Thank you very much. Great response. Yes, question right here. Go ahead. Marlene, can you help me out? I'm gonna have to pass that microphone.
How does your program work for students? Like certain culinary student like me, how is the hatchery or the family farm could help me? What are some ways you can help students grow their business if they're thinking of starting one?
I can start. So I think a good way to work with students is through exposure to our network and to cluster events that Family Farm produces. Family Farm is a nonprofit that our mission is good food on every table. So we define good food as local, sustainable, humane, and fair. So all of the businesses in our program are like-minded. While the businesses are not, they're not student-run businesses, they're primarily post-revenue and ready to scale, but exposure for students to, as it's been called, terrifying and crazy
Terrifying and uncertain.
Exposure to what businesses are going through, I think, is really important for students who are getting into that space.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we love students, and we've already had the opportunity to work with a lot of Kendall students, as well as students through multiple programs, Northwestern, Chicago University, programs at Booth and Kellogg. Actually, 2 of our current members are MBA graduates who started a business. One of them actually, Vietnam Nam, they're a catering company. They started as a catering company through us, and then they just got their first space in Evanston, so they are now a brick and mortar. So we do work with students very closely on multiple levels, whether it is that you are ready to start a food business, and then we've set up a great program with Rob right now where you can actually come and attend some of our current curriculum. Like I said, if it's pre-concept, you're just thinking about the idea, what is the basic legal aspects that you need to take care of to start a business and to legally produce and sell in Chicago, we'll take you through that. And then we have a wide roster of events. Coming up in September, we have things like food photography and knowing how to showcase your brand through photos, and food business insurance. I mean, anything and everything that you need. But then what's also fantastic is that we have students come in and either intern with us at the hatchery or with some of our clients, so that you get a first-hand look at really what it takes to start a business. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you yourself want to start a business, but you may want to be in that entrepreneurial space. So you get to work on the marketing angles, business, accounting, whatever it is that business has that you would like to have an inside look into, we provide that for you.
Thank you.
How was that?
That was amazing.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited. Any other questions? This is, over here. Yes, Amanda. I will pass you the microphone.
This goes to any of you out there. How do you see the incubator facilitating collaboration and teamwork among the different schools at Kendall?
Well, I'll start by saying one word: capstone. So clearly Capstone is about inventing a new business, and it is an interdisciplinary class at Kendall that affects our hospitality management students, the culinary students, and obviously also the business students. There are plans to also incorporate the education school into Capstone in the future. So that's one easy answer. There might be even more. Was it Amanda you asked that question? That's a great question. For the chefs in the room, we need other people to help us, right guys? It's not only about the food, it's not only about our product and you know, kind of that celebration of what we think is so great. We need to learn the business. We need our friends in hospitality and in business to teach us about finance or to teach us about market analysis. So it takes a village, and clearly a collaborative approach is what's going to make your business successful.
I love it. I love it. Go ahead, Sue. Go ahead.
One other quick thought, and that is Kendall will be participating in a restaurant competition. We've been starting to market to the hospitality management school students, but there's no reason that the culinary students and the business students couldn't get involved in that competition. And the Incubator will be a great source of support for any students involved in competitions that are solving, you know, a business problem about starting a business.
I just wanted to add also that from an industry expectation, you know, back in the day, several years ago, it was really, I'm talking industry specific for myself, it was you are taught and trained how to teach, and that's it. And as I was alluding to before, it's not, the name of the game now, I don't want to say every industry, I certainly can't speak to that, but in mine is the globalization of the mind. And I'm not talking globalization as I know what's going on in Cuba and I know what's going on in Europe. That's not what I'm talking about. As in, I can expand my thought and my process and my training to other areas of other industries to not only better my practice, but to give me a better understanding of what I need to do, how I need to do it, and how I can better train students to become globally minded thinkers as well.
Yeah, I had one thought on this as well. So as the Dean of General Education, you know, general education makes up 30% of all of the program curriculums. And for general education, one of the things we're trying to do is integrate the teaching and the learning that happens in a general education class into the program major. So I think that creative business is mostly an exercise in problem solving. And we teach problem solving in general education. So not only if you want to start a restaurant, obviously you need to have the skills, the knife skills, the cooking skills to do that, but you also have to have the problem solving skills. So Dina mentioned this. So the market research that you have to be able to do. And after making the market research, you have to draw conclusions from that market research in order to come up with a concept for that restaurant. And all of those critical thinking, problem solving skills are taught in general education.
Fantastic. Thank you to the deans. More questions. I think this is really good. I want people to see what this has to do with them. Marlene, can you? Thank you so much.
Hi, yes, I was wondering what...
Can you just stand up to a little bit? Thanks. We can see it.
Hi, yes, I was wondering what makes the Kendall College Incubator different from similar programs? What are the plans?
I love it when they're all like, Rob, you want to take that one? Great question. One of the things that makes us different is that most incubators, speaking to Natalie's comments earlier, are public facing. So if I have a great idea and I really am looking to get that concept started, I can apply to an incubator, or if I'm successful and already commercialized, I can apply to the Good Food Business Accelerator. The Kendall College Incubator is really just for us, the people in this room, the people in this building. Whether you're a student or you're an alumnus and you were formerly here, or you're a faculty member, or a staff member. It's really about focusing on what's happening here, knowing that that will then have an impact on Chicago locally. So, great question. And I'm surprised that I haven't had any existing business owners who are part of the family saying, so even me, Rob? I did. Yes, even you.
Hey, Rob,
yes.
I think that's an excellent point that you make about how this is exclusive
yes,
to the Kendall community. And I think that's a huge, huge piece that I don't think we want to ignore, because this is an opportunity, if you're in this room or at Kendall, to get some help starting in their business. I've been at Kendall for 10 years, and so many students have come through, and one of their goals when they start is to start their own business. And now we have something that is more formalized support to do that. I mean, before today, we've relied on that to happen informally, but now we're building something that will formally support students' end goal. I think that's fantastic.
I think President Schamberg has a question.
Yeah, so I'm going to speak from personal experience. 16 years ago, I was a student at Kendall, and I left Kendall and I started my own business. Kendall taught me to be a really great chef. Didn't teach me a whole lot at that time about running a business. Had this incubator been in existence 16 years ago, I would have probably been even more successful because I would have known things like how to do market analysis, how to generate customers. So I think having this as an opportunity that's exclusive for Kendall and the Kendall community in the long run is going to pay off. So I'm living proof that you can go to school here, you can have a career, you can build a business, and now the opportunity exists that you can come back and get even more resources. So this is a wonderful opportunity, and I think it really sets us apart from others in the education world, but also in the culinary world, hospitality, and education. So I'm very excited about this.
Thank you.
I would add just one other quick thought, and that is that the incubator is not only going to just stand alone, it is going to be part of classes. So all of us have begun to identify classes where you'll be visiting the incubator, doing assignments related to the incubator. In the Hospitality Management School, for example, we have a class called Restaurant Concept Development. What a better class than to incorporate with the incubator. So again, we'll be taking your regular coursework and exposing you to the incubator. I think that's another important difference. So it'll be part of your coursework.
We have another question, Cindy McCarthy.
So beyond that, if I have an idea, what do I do? How do I go to the incubator? What do I do?
The first thing you do is you stop by my office. That's number one. The question, I would respond to that by saying it depends what you want to do. So do you want to just learn a little bit more about entrepreneurship, right? We can get you some workshops, some skills, introduce you to some important people. Do you have a product concept that you're trying to get started? What do you want to do with that product concept? So it really is dependent upon what your goals are from a business standpoint. Just because you have a great product idea doesn't mean you want to make it every day. You might want to sell that to somebody else, right? So there's lots of different iterations in which entrepreneurship in the incubator can help students, faculty, staff, but it really is dependent upon your personal situation. So that would be my response. But we have a lot of different options. Also, I think what makes us unique to the question we took earlier is that range, that if you just want to learn a little bit, you can. But if you want to go all the way with this, if you want to commercialize that product, that's also something we can really help you do. Any other questions? We have time for about one more. Yes, sir, in front.
Could the panel discuss the importance of networking? Because networking is not, it's a learned skill for most people. It's not something we're born with, but it is absolutely crucial. Why don't we start with Natalie and Rebecca, because that's very much at the core of incubators and accelerators, but everybody else can weigh in.
Great point.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, and I think networking is essential. I did a graduate program that was very much around the culinary world, gastronomy, and if it wasn't for my networking and actually getting out there and speaking to real life people, it would have all been theory, no application. So I think the importance of actually getting out there and connecting with like-minded individuals is essential. At the Hatchery, we run a monthly networking event. Our next one on September 14th is actually featuring Steve Dolinsky, the Hungry Hound. So he's actually going to be speaking about media, the media space in food, and how to access that specific category, and just talking through what he's learned and how he's had different experiences. And then after that, we always offer up the opportunity where it's all food industry professionals that come to these events so they can connect with one another. And we've seen remarkable things happen where entrepreneurs who might be in the early stages and they're making almond flour cookies, they come across an almond flour protein bar company, and now they can source together for a much cheaper cost. Or they might market together, they might share a table at a trade show at the Good Food Festival, and then they can get half the price for one table. So connecting with other individuals in that space and learning through their mistakes and what they've done, or just collaborating with them is so essential, especially in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, just to add on that, I agree when you talk about the collaboration and learning from each other's mistakes. I think one of the most consistent feedback that I'm given on our accelerator is the access to networking, to professionals, to other like-minded individuals is one of the most important things that our fellows get out of the program, but also that support. You know, as students having this incubator here, you're going to have that support. As businesses grow, nobody else understands that process, and nobody else understands those hurdles other than other entrepreneurs. And especially in the food space, it's very specific. So that's, I think the networking and the support is definitely the most beneficial aspect of any incubator program or accelerator program.
Any other comments from the deans?
Yeah, I'll make a comment. I think one of the cool things about the incubator is this is going to be a formal place for you to meet your partners. So we've all, of course, heard of Steve Jobs. Well, Steve Jobs wouldn't be Steve Jobs without Steve Wozniak. So the incubator will be a place for you to meet your Steve Wozniak. When I say Steve Wozniak, who knows who Steve Wozniak is? A few of us, most of us, right? But Steve Wozniak, you know, Steve Jobs is the marketer. Steve Wozniak was the engineer. He was the guy that was making the products. So I think the incubator, really cool thing about it is you can meet that partner that you would need to have at your side to launch your business. I think that's really cool.
Before I came to Kendall, I was actually an entrepreneur. I ran a small consulting business, and one of the lessons that I learned out of my networking was not to look at people always as, you know, a competitor or somebody that can help you. It really expanded my view that sometimes, just as you alluded to, your competitors can be the people that you learn the most from. And you only do that through networking.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was thinking about, you know, growing up in kitchens and, you know, it's a team sport, right? So this is a team sport. And, you know, I've been a member of a lot of organizations, the ACF, the Women Chefs Organization I'm a member of. And when you go to, you know, a networking event, you start to talk to people about things that are common to you, right? You share thoughts with them, and then all of a sudden they come up with an idea that you never thought of, right? So the idea is that you join an organization because there's a shared or a common goal, but you leave that networking event having learned something that you never even really thought was possible.
Yes.
I think building on what we've all said, I think Kendall's in a unique has a unique opportunity to position this as something with a lot of cachet, because we're not a large institution which presents challenges, but we're not a large institution which doesn't present challenges as well. So in that respect, we have a very smaller pool of things to work on here, right inside the confines of the four walls of this institution, instead of a larger university or someone with many more people, many more players in the mix. So that, I think it's a very unique position. In education, the spirit of networking has been critical over the last probably 5 to 10 years, because there has been so many changes in the field that are coming about, not by educators, but by legislators, by politicians who unfortunately make the rules for us. So with that, with the networking piece, as educators, we have to, but just kind of by default, have to get out there to network with the rule makers so that they can understand and hear what's happening in a classroom, that they don't know what's happening in the classroom other than being a student themselves. They were never on this side, as we say, they were never on this side of the desk, you know, kind of thing. So the networking aspect, regardless of the industry, very, very important, very important.
Great point talking about networking. Okay, so I want to make sure that I keep us close to on task, and I'm sure people are starting to get hungry, kind of like, you said there was going to be pizza, man, what's going on? So I want to thank everybody for coming out, our president, our provost, our partners, the deans, all of the media who's here, again, Patricia Hillel, and all the students who've really helped out, everybody in here.